Unfortunately, we find out that Ezekiel Elliott, along with several Cowboys and Houston Texans, have tested positive for COVID-19. Bombshell.
I got nothing,
dude. That's rough.
I got nothing, man. I was telling you, I'm just worn down. We have glimmers of hope, reason for optimism, and then all of a sudden, I just don't know. I'm beat down, dude. I got nothing for you. I just don't.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, how? Asymptomatic. But I guess the one benefit the Cowboys said that none of the players, I think the Texans said this as well, that none of the players had been in the facility, which should be the case because right now only coaches were allowed back. So that is a positive. Doesn't set back everything else you're trying to get in motion. I just think going forward, though, man, it's going to be interesting to see what's the thought process or the synopsis, because right now we were talking about potentially the NFL and NFLPA were talking about potentially starting training camp a couple of weeks earlier so guys could get some practices in because of the lack of OTAs. They also talked about potentially having a mini camp. Some clubs will have a mini camp at the end of June. That was another thing that was brought up. I just don't, I want to know going forward, is every time something like this happens, does that reset everything? Or would they still operate as if these guys just had hamstring injuries for just timetable standpoints, have them not out there, but everybody else be available and still proceed as we're going on? Because I think if we just continue to stop every time something comes up like this, and these people, like I said, with Zeke, we know with Zeke, he was asymptomatic. So are we going to stop every single time, or is it just going to be that guy has to stay away, quarantine as if he was injured, and go about their business that way? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, man, because I feel like the more people, like the more they're starting to have tests readily available, because remember, that was the issue prior. There weren't enough tests. So the only people that were getting tested were people with symptoms. Well, now we're getting to the point where we have enough tests that you could test people that don't have symptoms.
Yeah.
I think the more we start to test people that don't have symptoms, I'm sure you're going to come across more positive tests. So like I said, what's the procedure? What's the end goal? What are we trying to accomplish going forward? Are we trying to proceed and coexist with this situation with COVID-19? Or are we still treating it as if, hey, man, this is the boogeyman, and if he shows up, everybody goes back home?
I think the NFL's going with the former attitude, like the first thing you said. I think they're going to just try to manage it and keep on going forward, because the whole asymptomatic thing, there's something that comes out, a week or two ago that says asymptomatic people can't carry it at all. And that was like one of the big concerns as to why everything got shut down. Obviously, I think there were some people that debunked that and said,
Correct.
that's false. But I think that was like a big organization, right? The WHO.
So this is the thing between the WHO, between Dr. Fauci. It seems as if one will say one thing and another will contradict it, or they'll both say something at one point in time and then a week or two later they essentially debunk it. I think the biggest issue is kind of the over information right now. Until you know with 100%, don't put that out there, because then it does come across as, oh, this is factual right here. Whereas we don't know that just yet when it comes to can asymptomatic people pass it along and things like that. So I think until we all officially know that, it's hard to just throw that out there. But that's what the WHO and Dr. Fauci have both been wrong for doing at times throughout this thing. I mean, they've presented some really good information, some very helpful information, but it's no different when, remember, at first they were like, hey, man, there's no point in wearing a mask. Mask isn't going to do anything. And then they say, well, actually, man, you do need to put a mask on. It can help. It can do this. So it's just a fluid situation. I think instead of trying to operate in the absolutes of it, just roll through the gray areas, roll through the, hey, man, it could be this right now, but okay, new information came out that now it is this. Okay, this came out that now that is that. Instead of just trying to make it as, oh, it's black and white. This is right. This is not what it is. This is what it is. I think that, for me personally, I think that'd be the better approach.
Yeah, and I think we both are hoping then the NFL just can figure out a way to keep pushing forward and manage this correctly then. So, yeah, right now it doesn't seem anything too alarming. It does, like I said, it's just one of those things you hear, you're just like, oh, man, come on. But we still got a few months away before, I guess a couple months before, like training camps, like end of July. And
We said
start moving.
months. I mean, technically, I mean, we already
1.5. Yeah, I guess,
we already.
I guess I'm rounding up.
We're already midway through June, man.
I guess I'm rounding up. So
yeah.
Hopefully things could get a little bit more figured out by then. And
that's at the NFL level. There were reports that 7 or 8 Alabama football players tested positive as well. And then WVU, I think they had a guy or two test positive as well. So, like I said, man, it's going to be an interesting thing to see how everything continues to progress, though, man.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
Yeah.
So I don't have much for you, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, no, hey, listen, we were just breaking the news. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It just came out literally right before we were hopping on. So we said, we'll get the people what they need to hear, man.
Yeah, at least we broke it down.
Yeah, we gave our little opinion. That's it, man.
Yeah.